to speak. There are request to speak forms at the back. Please fill one of those out, give them to the clerk, and she will give them to the mayor when he gets here. So first thing is the call to order, which is a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll close out item 1 and go to item 2, setting of the agenda. Paul, do you have anything?
No, sir, no changes.
Make a motion to accept the agenda.
A second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the board? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, close out item 2 and go to item 3, consent agenda. All items listed below are considered routine or have been discussed in length at previous meetings and will be enacted by one motion. No separate discussion will be held except on the request by the member of the Board of Commissioners. 3A, consider approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting on February 26, 2024, and the work session on May 8, 2024.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, we'll close out item 3. Go to 4, informal discussion and public comment. 4A is oath of office for officer, I don't even want to mispronounce that.
Lodi. Brian will get us, Chief will get us out of this.
Yeah. Good afternoon, board, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, and Mr. Paul.
Okay.
We're having a new hire come in line, ask Officer Hudson Floyd to come forward. She's one of our newest officers. Ms. Lodi is from Fayetteville, North Carolina. She graduated from Massey Hill Classical High School in 2016. She attended Fayetteville State University and graduated with a Bachelor of Arts and Intelligence Studies in 2021. In 2023, she went to Richmond County Community College for basic law enforcement training and graduated. She had the second highest grade point average in the class. Tonight, her fiance Gabe will be holding the Bible for her. He would come forward. Correction, the Quran. Apologies.
All right, so if you will, place your right hand on the Quran, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Hafsa Lodi, do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that I will faithfully and impartially execute and discharge the duties of my office as police officer for the town of Aberdeen. So help me God. Congratulations.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Good to see you. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Take your spot on the board. Next, I'll be calling Captain Darling and Lieutenant Schofield up. Tonight, they will be awarded their advanced certificate of law enforcement. This is the highest certificate you can receive in North Carolina for law enforcement. Captain Darling was able to obtain her advanced certificate by possessing her bachelor's degree from the University of Arizona, having 6 years of law enforcement. Captain Darling also had to obtain 15 points. Every point is pretty much 20 hours. So she had to get 20 hours to accumulate what she needed. Lieutenant Schofield kind of had a little bit more We have one more. I'm gonna call Captain Darwin back up. The FBI is a three-part series class. Captain Darwin enrolled in these classes, and the classes consist of Supervisory Leadership Institute, Command Leadership, and Executive Leadership. It's a total of 84 hours. She's the first in the police department to complete this, and once you complete it, it's a triology where they give you an award with all three placed together, and she'll be presented with it tonight also. Congratulations again.
Thank y'all. This was great. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
We're at item number C, which is other public comments. If anyone has a public comment, that's something they would like to address with the board, please let us know. Anyone? All right, we don't have anyone that wants to do a public comment, so I will close out C and go to number 5, which is manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. You got your written comments in front of you. Just a few summary remarks I'll make, and then, of course, Mr. Watson, he will provide the full finance report. He said he might be able to go a little bit quicker when he gets to his portion, because he did give you the full report about a week and a half ago, so not a whole lot of changes from that, but he'll update that as needed. So again, you've got the standard monthly figures and statistics, but you can see there's a lot of movement going on, and you can see the planning department's expanded. Their reporting, give a little bit more detail, which we thought you might like, in some of the inspections and the addresses there, which may help you a little bit.
Yeah.
Might mean more to others than to some, but anyway, it's kind of nice to know, and they tried to identify kind of what was going on there a little bit. So hopefully that'll help you get through exactly what's going on. But you can see they're very busy, and just a lot of activity going on over there. You only really hear about the big projects. This is the day in, day out kind of work that they do. Some of it's building inspections, as you can see, and some of it's just planning things that don't go through a full planning board or a board. So it's just a busy time, but the staff is doing excellent. All the people over there are doing great. I think we mentioned before that besides the planning department, who have been there now for over a year or so, most of them, we now have Juan, who's joined us. His office is right there in that door. He's doing our code enforcement, and Juan has been really busy. The week and a half, 2 weeks he's been here. He's picked up so many signs and just really catching up where we've been. So we're so happy to have Juan. He's just doing a tremendous job. So if you haven't met Juan, come by during the day, and if he's in and around, we'll try to make sure you meet him. And then also we had Tim Bird, whose office is right behind me here, who's our new facilities supervisor, and he's doing a great job too. Just great experience. He's been around. He's already busy, out doing a lot of things. So again, doing a great job and fixing things here and there. He's got a list, a little bit of backup stuff to do, just like Juan did in terms of code enforcement. So they're both doing a great job, and I think they'll be with us for a long time, and really just tremendous people. So if you haven't met them yet, you'll see them around, and I'm sure you'll cross paths at some point. But really, I'm glad to have them. A couple other quick things. Still moving forward, we had a really good meeting with the purchaser at the old Aberdeen Elementary School. So we do have what I call kind of the final document. The only thing we're working on, so that was no problem at all, and they are ready to close as soon as we can kind of get through that paperwork. we're working on kind of a draft of the final, and it may not be the final, but it'll be a good starting point for the shared use of that parking lot, which we talked about a lot. And then they're also doing a little bit of work on how the water tower, if you remember the old water tower or water tank that's there, we've got some infrastructure on there. So we're selling the water tower to them. Of course, it's not in use now, but we have some cell phone inventory on there. So we thought it best, and probably the best way to go forward, basically talking to the attorneys, to have a little bit of an agreement there, so that, because we do get a good rental income on that from the cell companies. It's a good income. So we didn't really want to give that up. But we also understand, well, that can't be forever, and those cell devices are leased for a long time. So we're drawing up a kind of a quick document that covers that. But if there is ever a need, like the buyers talked about maybe trying to do something with that tower, or even build a structure that it can be used as the framework for some sort of place, which would be kind of neat in a way. But this agreement would allow the cell tower devices to be relocated in the same area, because of course that is key to why they're there, to serve that area with a cell phone. But if you've ever seen those artificial towers that look like trees and things like that, that would be kind of the fallback if it hasn't come off of the water tower. So we're trying to be fair in all respects. I think that's kind of been the intent, I think, to not lose that revenue for the time being and be able to work with them. But of course, that'll take years before that's even a question. So we're trying to not worry about it too much, but still cover it. So when we're talking about this in 3, 4, 5 years down the road, we've kind of got a beginning answer to it. So again, not a big deal, but the financing, everything's in place with the buyer. So I know we've been pushing the date back and back and back, but we are trying to get this closed to make Mr. Butch happy before the end of May, so we can have the money in our hands this fiscal year, which has always been a goal of ours. So we're going to keep pushing on that. So again, it was a good meeting. It just seems like it's taken a lot longer than we imagined, but here we are. But I'd kind of rather get it right than rush through and forget something. Mayor, I know you're familiar with this more so than the rest of the board, I think, on the Iron Horse project. Again, that's moving forward in a good way. Remember, there's a little bit of a relocation of the access road, which we've got an easement for, and that took a little bit of work to go from Highway 211 to the property on that side of the road. So we managed to find a good location. DOT said, look, we can build a road where you've got this laid out, but it's going to be a lot more expensive because of the incline. So we're talking to the current owners of that property, and at this point they seem amenable to let us relocate it. So DOT has staked out what they consider to be the best path. It's not far from the original easement, but it's a little bit different location. So the owners that have given us the easement for the initial location, they're going to go out on the site next week. They'll be back in town and able to go out there. So it's going to happen next week. DOT has flagged the new pathway, the new access easement, so they can kind of put eyes on it and see exactly what it looks like out there. Separate from that, there is a contract already in place, and I know they're out there doing some work on the clearing and grubbing on the actual property. So again, that project is moving forward. There's always something to get cleaned up or in place, but it's moving forward. I know the economic development partners with Moore County, Natalie and Darren and their team are really excited about it. I think they feel like if they can show the land with some cleared and grubbed property, that it will be very, very attractive, and it'll be a good asset that will be desired by a bunch of companies. So again, we're getting there. Just need a little bit more cleanup, and personally, I'd like to see that roadway kind of cut through. To me, that would really give somebody a vision of how they're going to get there and what it will look like. So if you don't have to imagine anything more than you really have to in terms of a wooded lot, but if you see, hey, that's what it looks like, mostly cleared, here's the roadway, things start to come together a lot quicker for somebody who's looking to buy or build on with a pretty substantial development. Also, as the board recalls, at our last meeting, the board did approve the Talbot project. So John's been working on the contract with the paving and construction contractor. So they've got a good draft of that, which they've worked through, and I think TC We got a few things to work out in the signature line. It's not a big deal, but that should be going to TC probably as early as tomorrow. So again, that's moving forward, and they're gonna start in mid-April, for the actual construction, and kind of divide it up with, as you know, we've budgeted kind of the first part for this fiscal year, the second part will be part of our budget, but it will happen and be completed by early July, the very beginning of our next fiscal year. So that's a big improvement. I think we're all looking forward to that. And we're gonna be very careful with the actual marking the land, because there's some tight parcels back there with different owners. So we gotta be really careful that we flag that properly, and so we got somebody working on that too, to make sure that that's an accurate, you know, notation of where the where the new pavement goes and where it does not. Joe may have some more to add on this later, but the Highway 5 sewer outfall project moving along just as it should. They're working really fast, so that's been actually a really good project. So again, I don't know, Joe, if you have a completion date yet. Have they been so brave as to give us one of those yet, or are they still kind of working on it?
It's supposed to be completed by the end of June.
Okay, so, yeah, so that's good. So, hopefully it'll be, you know, in good shape, and that's gonna be a big new utility extension for us that'll help that area a good bit. A couple other things. Joe, later tonight, I'll let Joe handle the South Street and really the Main Street, but the, you know, the speed limit reductions, those are pretty much in place, and Joe's gonna talk tonight about the four-way stop signs, some of our options for that. So he's got a full report and some visuals there to give you some, an idea on a couple of options about what might work best there. And also, I think, there's Chief Chavis, but I wanted to commend the police department for doing a good job. You know, we had gotten a complaint recently on the homeless encampment that was more behind the Walmart area. And I know the mayor went out there with one of the initial visits with Chief Chavis, and actually worked out a good kind of resolution. We hope it'll come through, but talked to the homeless, you know, inhabitants out there, and they agreed to move without resistance, you know, after the complaint was filed by the owner of the property, and we gave them a reasonable amount of time to relocate, and they've agreed to do that, so we're gonna check back with them pretty soon and just make sure that's there. And then after they have vacated the area, workers from Walmart have agreed to go and clean up the area with all the debris and leftover area things that were back there. So that area should be cleaned up here pretty quickly. I don't think that's happened yet, in terms of the cleanup yet. Is that right, Chief?
They've already started moving some of their personal effects,
Okay,
but they won't be out until the 21st.
Okay.
And Walmart will schedule time to come out
okay.
and clean it back.
Yep. So we're still moving forward, Mayor, but it's a good step. So we feel really good about that. And that's all I have, Mayor, for my report.
Anyone? Anyone have a question? Thank you. We go to financial report. I'll close 5 and go to 6.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. I want to be very quick as possible tonight, since we went over this about 10 days or so ago. You have before you, you sent last week the information through the end of February, and I'll go over it very quickly. For general fund, we had revenues year-to-date through the end of February of $11,521,000. Expenditures were $9,462,000. So we had a net income through the year-to-date of February of $2,059,000. Some highlights for the revenues, and again, since we normally have this meeting next week, some of these numbers, more than have not changed. The real and personal property tax collections through the end of February is 100.88%, which is $6,321,000 compared to $6,266,000 budgeted. So we've already collected over 100% of current year property taxes for real and personal property taxes. 2023 motor vehicle tax revenue is 65.68%. We will receive a payment this week for the current month, so there's no change. 2023 fire real and personal property tax revenue, we're at 72.92%, no change on that as well. Garbage fee revenues are currently at 77.43. which is $499,419 compared to budget of $645,000. That all will go out with the water and sewer bills in the next 7 to 10 days. So you will see a change in that when you receive the next report next month. Building permit revenues collected through the end of February were 74.70%, or 224,000 collected. As of today, it's 76.75%, or $230,249. And remember, at the end of March, we're at 75% through with the fiscal year, so we're ahead of schedule on the building permit revenues. ABC net revenues, 67.75% of budget, $128,386 collected. No change for this month so far. Sales tax revenue, there's a typo on what was on the screen. I had 5 months, but the number is correct for the percentage collected of 54.04%, or $1,881,602. And that's again for 6 months collections. As of today, we've received another payment today. So we received 7 months with 63.04%, or $2,195,000. That's for 7 months of actual receipts. Utility franchise tax collected, we also received that today along with the video sales tax. We were at 46.97% in February. Today, we're at 71.43%. So the 46.97% represents $261,000 collected, where the 71.43% represents $397,000. And the power bill revenue, we received that already through year to date, but we're still 112.15% of budget, or $317,392 collected of budget. Any questions for general fund? On water and sewer fund, we have collected through the end of February $3,033,000. Expenditures $2,967,000. So we have a net income of $65,635. Highlights: system development fees were end of February 73.84% of budget, $191,292 collected. As of today, it's 78.83%, or $204,239. Water and sewer revenues were at 66.25% of budget, or $2,416,000 as of the end of February. As of today, there's been no change. Again, that's part of the water and sewer garbage bills that go out in the next 10 days or so. Water and sewer tap revenue was at 95.65% end of February. As of today, it's 100.22%, or $92,200. Our budget is $92,000. And bulk water, Moore County revenue was at 64.12%, or $272,514, compared to no change as of today, no change on that for the month of March. So overall, we are at $14,555,390 of revenues for the water, sewer, and general fund. Expenditures $12,430,750, or a gross of, or net income, excuse me, of $2,124,000 combined for the two funds. So any questions on that? The next page, I'm not going to go through this individually. As a reminder, we have 7 capital project funds currently, and you know, some of them we've spent some money on. We haven't done anything for revenue. Currently, like the old Aberdeen Elementary School, as Commander stated, that's going to close hopefully by the end of May. So you'll see a revenue, and this project will pick up in pace. Also, I checked today. If you take a look at the bottom with our LKC, our engineers, they were following up with the state on the revenues for the AIA project. That's the inventory. That's the inventory project they're doing for those public works area. So they're checking on the revenues there, as well as the NCDOT project. We are owed a little bit of money on that for 211. We haven't received a payment in a couple of years, that's what we expected. So overall, of the 7 capital project funds we currently have, we have got revenues of $2,272,000. Expenditures are $2,807,000. And again, with these being capital projects, They go multiple years. I know one of them has been going on like just the fourth year, going on, which is acceptable. Any questions for the financial report?
Excellent report. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Close 6, go to 7, which is public hearings and new business. A, annexation number 24-01, submitted by Wayman Investments LLC for 7 parcels totaling 43.975 acres located east of US 15501 Highway and north of PD Road.
Union Board, Mayor, so Wyman Investments LLC, they're requesting 7 parcels with the parcel IDs as 0053948, 0004674, 99000056, 0004675, 00992164, 0005451, and lastly 00046. Annexed into the town of Aberdeen. These parcels equal a total of 43.975 acres per Moore County GIS. They're served along the frontage of US Highway 15501 and generally located east of 15501 and north of PD. Parcels are undeveloped and are adjacent to residential R10, residential R20, and then the parcels are currently in the town's ETJ and abuts the town's corporal limits. These parcels are currently a mixture of 3 different zonings, R10, general commercial, and office and institutional. This is the map. This is the zoning of it, where you can see the light blue is the O&I, the darker blue is the general commercial, and then the light green is the R10 area.
But they're not asking for rezoning, they're just asking for annexation.
Correct.
We have to annex it first, and then we rezone it.
If they
If
want
we-
to rezone it, but
yes.
that hasn't been in question in any of the talks
Okay.
thus far. So the voluntary annex per section 2518C shall be approved, finding the applicant demonstrates the proposed voluntary annexation, bears signatures of all landowners within the area to be annexed. Staff found that it did. The areas to be annexed can be adequately served by the same municipal service provided by the town's corporate limits. It can. The debt obligation of services, subject lands do not exceed the anticipated revenues. No, they don't. And then the public health and safety, welfare of the town's residents and residents of the lands proposed to that annex will be best served by the annexation. We found that it did. Any questions, that's all I have.
This is a public hearing. I do have someone that would like to speak. Mr. Paps, did I say it right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Good.
Good evening. My name is Dan Paps, Paps Design Group, 107 Fayetteville Street, Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm a registered professional engineer of the state of North Carolina, engineer of record for this particular project, and I'm representing the applicant and owners in the annexation petition request. I'm here really to answer any questions that I might be able to answer at this time related to the annexation petition.
You don't have a better picture of it, do you?
No, all I have is the survey and the zoning map, Mayor.
Need to orient us.
You know where it is, it's across from Bernie's,
Bernie's
Oh, okay.
Bernie's is
the
down
old
here.
black property.
Bernie's is down here.
So
Okay.
it's across the street from the Height property that we recently annexed in on PD Road. It sits behind Bluebird development that Habitat Humanity did, and is.
Because there's down here.
Can you bring it back now? I might give him there you go.
Here's the
If
curve.
you see Mary C.
Oh, there's the curve.
And that's
Bernie's is right
15501, that's on the corner.
All right. And so it's on the north side of PD.
Correct. So if you see and I can add road names in here next time. I just took a snapshot of the
This is
land
the
use
big
map. So this 15501, this is PD.
Yeah,
And
that's the,
then-
that's the piece of property we annexed.
Yeah.
The
4 or
area
5
to
years
be
ago.
Yeah.
annexed is all of this area, and then I think right there, down, and then over.
Was this the black property?
It is.
Okay.
So the light green is already annexed?
No,
No.
So what property are you saying we've already annexed, Brian?
In the town's
that, the one
limits.
that's in red,
That one's.
That's it?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
And
it's,
if you look south of there too, we recently annexed all of this on PD Road.
it's
with the
Habitat,
Habitat for
Habitat.
Humanity
okay.
development.
So it's the light blue, the dark blue, and
The light green.
light green where it says R10.
Yes, Mayor.
And that's the 40, what, 40-some, 40, almost 44 acres.
I'll make a motion that we approve, oh, we hadn't closed it.
No, this is still a public hearing. Anyone have a question? It's just an annexation. Anyone have a question with the gentleman that's here? Anyone in the audience? Public hearing? No one? Okay, I can close the public hearing then. Anybody else? Let's do that.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the voluntary annexation petition.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion from the board. Anyone? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Now, did you drive down here from Raleigh this evening?
Yes, sir, I did. It's a beautiful drive. I love it.
Well, it's a straight shot to Raleigh. Get one block over and it's a straight shot.
Have a safe trip back.
Have a safe trip. All right, close A and go to B. Annexation number 2402, submitted by Sarah K. Sullivan for .454 acres located in the village of Pinehurst, ETJ. And this is a public hearing.
Mayor and Board, just to start, I don't think Ms. Sullivan was able to make it tonight, saying that I should be able to answer any questions that you have in referencing this property. But the property owner of 1908 North Carolina Highway 5, Ms. Sullivan, is requesting one parcel identified as parcel ID 00056.86, recorded in deed book 5467, page 330 in Moore County Registry, be annexed. Parcel is currently in the village of Pinehurst, ETJ, directly abutting the town's corporate limits. Parcel is currently zoned residential in Pinehurst's ETJ. And due to the property's current zoning and the Aberdeen zoning map nearby being R20, staff recommends that this property be zoned R20 if they determine or decide, if they approve this annexation as well. It is currently developed with a residential property as well. The one parcel totals .454 acres for Moore County, per Moore County GIS, and served by road frontage on US Highway 5. And the parcel is located west of Highway 5. Parcel is developed in residential again and is adjacent to a residential zone parcels in Pinehurst, ETJ. Parcel is currently, again, in the village of Pinehurst, shared ETJ with the town of Aberdeen. And we were able to request an annexation between the two municipalities annex agreement, and I was able to not only get that approved, but get the time limit, the 30-day time limit that it would typically take, was a wait period, waived per the agreement by the village manager of Pinehurst, Jeff Sanborn. This is the survey map. You can see this is the property right under a half-acre lot. Everything to the north, west, and south directly abutting this is out of the town's corporate limits, but you do have public sewer and water running up. You see Highway 5 that she can directly tie into. And then right across the street is all in the town of Aberdeen corporate limits.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So when someone requests annexation, do we need to go out and visit the location? I mean, does Public Works have to go and actually,
We have a sewer and water map, so we know where.
you know sewer and water's there, right?
Yes.
Is it a home, is it a
It
home,
is.
house? I mean, I'm
It's
just
a
curious.
house.
It's a house, okay.
Yes, ma'am, she lives there. And due to our water and sewer running north and south on Highway 5, and her being able to directly tie into it, and currently being on well and septic, this actually supports her by being able to tie directly into the
True,
town
yeah.
sewer and water versus not ever being able to tie into Pinehurst.
Right, I just couldn't see the home from the street and, you know, with all the
Well,
different,
but in any case, and we have lines in the area, but it is incumbent on any property owner to make the connection themselves.
yes.
And we
I just-
don't, so whatever, if it's not just a lateral connection, which I think it might be out here, they have to extend, they have to do anything to make it work. That's entirely on the property owner. But we will give them access to our water and sewer lines as a new, resident of town. But, this one looks like, but, that's really the responsibility of the property owner to make those calls. So we're not, I guess, we make our water and sewer lines available for them to connect to. It's entirely on them, their responsibility to make that connection.
I just didn't know, since you couldn't, I can't physically see the home from the road, if there was any type of visit you have to do to go out to be sure that there's not like major construction that has to be done to,
Well,
you know,
again,
is the-
I
or hole
mean,
in the
we look
yard. I
at-
mean, I'm just curious.
We look at the property, but that is entirely the responsibility of the annexing party to
Okay.
do that. And we try and help them where we can.
Yeah,
But we're not gonna do a engineering study, and we're
Sure.
not promising that the next day they can come in and we can have water and sewer there immediately. Hopefully for these people, it'll work out that way, but that's entirely their responsibility. Like if they were low and had to provide some sort of pump or something to get the sewer up to the sewer line, entirely their responsibility.
What was the reason for their annexation? Was
They
it
wanna
to
tie
get
into-
sewer?
They want to tie into the
Oh,
town's public infrastructure for sewer and water. So again, this is the parcel, and you can see where it does, it butts going across the street. And the surrounding areas, this is all within the Aberdeen and Pinehurst annexation agreement. So I could almost foresee a lot more of these coming in the future. And then based off of the annexation agreement with concurrence of Pinehurst, we are able to annex those in. So with the procedural issues, again, it does bear the signatures of the landowners within the area to be annexed. The area to be annexed can adequately be served by municipal services provided by the town's corporate limits. The debt obligation from the service subject lands do not exceed the anticipated revenues to the town, and the public health, safety, and welfare of town residents and the residents of the lands proposed for annex will be best served by the annexation according to staff's analysis. And then pending any questions from me.
The remaining lots along there, because it's in the Pinehurst ETJ, I know they have a different nomenclature. Is it residential for them
It is.
also?
It is. I checked with Pinehurst, and it doesn't match exactly, but it is
Yeah.
residential. As you know, every
Yeah.
municipality has different types of zoning,
Sure.
but it is very similar to R20.
So,
And with it already being a residential home that is already constructed, it made sense for us to recommend it to be R20
sure.
with the surrounding residential properties that we have in that area being R20.
Yeah, it's building up as residential along there. I was just curious about the Pinehurst because there's a number of lots, as you can probably count, I don't know how many's left there, that are still in the Pinehurst ETJ. And my guess is whoever wants to come in or come in, ask to be in Aberdeen also. Pinehurst can't get water and sewer to them.
That's my analysis, is that we will, if those parcels are not developed, or if they are already developed and something happens to their well or something happens to
Sure.
their sewer, then I would see them wanting to annex into the town, connect it. And from my own experience too, my first house, when I had a sewer fail, I was able to connect to the town and it made things a lot easier.
Is that area behind that open area, is that just wooded area? Where there's no squares, it's just,
I couldn't tell you if that's developed or not off the top of my head, with it being Pinehurst's ETJ, I don't.
yeah, okay.
I don't.
I don't remember anything
Yeah, I don't
being
know
there.
what's in there. I don't.
I believe, so this is Linden Road right here.
Yeah.
So
Right
I'm
before you
about
get Wynn's Way.
99% sure all of this is already developed in houses. I used to jog Linden Road a lot from
Okay.
Elliott's down, and I know that there's a lot of development all through
Okay.
here.
But it's not part of Wynn's Way, though, it's still part of Pinehurst.
No, it's not Wynn's Way.
No, that's not Wynn's Way,
Who,
that's all
and who's,
Pinehurst.
what are they hooked to, ours?
No, this is all this white
Uh-huh,
is Pinehurst.
still Pinehurst.
Yeah, Pinehurst ETJ.
I don't believe there's any Pinehurst utilities in there, is it, Joe? No, there's nothing in there. Whoever's living there is on a well
Okay, and a septic tank,
and a septic tank.
And
okay.
I think that if we did see any properties annexed in, they would not come from this area because these are already pretty established
Okay.
homes, I think.
There's no
In a
homes.
very nice area. What's that?
There's no homes in there. Not
All of
according, not according to.
Looks like
Linden.
woods, right?
It's all wooded.
That's what I thought.
Are you looking at GIS?
Yes.
I'm looking at Google Maps
Okay.
from this year. It was updated this year. All the homes are down here on Twisted Pine and Winds Way, and
Yeah.
Okay.
that's undeveloped land. Yeah, there's nothing there. That house, home we're talking about is about the only thing in
Linden
there.
So
Road's
I
the
guess
one that
what-
goes down to Elliott's, right?
And the reason I asked was just
Yeah.
future
This is-
development, how would
this
that affect?
Through here is all developed with homes. I can tell you 100%.
Mm.
I've ran through here for years.
Well, they live in
On
woods.
the north side.
Irregardless. I mean,
Maybe wood,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. I was just thinking of future, like, future development, what could possibly be down the road, just questioning, sorry.
Okay, was that you? You're through?
I am through.
This is a public hearing. And you said the applicant is,
I don't think
Unfortunately not
Sullivan
here.
was not able to make it.
anyone else? Public hearing. All right, I'll close the public hearing. Okay, well. Consider action on an ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the town of Aberdeen, North Carolina for annexation number 24-02.
I make a motion to approve the annexation 2402.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in
Yes,
favor?
sir.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, can you guys add in with the recommended zoning?
Oh, I'm
R
sorry.
20?
Yeah, here it is, right here.
I amend my motion to recommend the zoning as recommended by the town staff.
Second that.
All right, that, you had a second?
Mhm.
All right. Now, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you. All right, we're down to number C, consider action on implementation of a four-way stop on South Street due to speed concerns. Mr. Wood?
Mr. Mayor, board members, as discussed at the budget retreat, we do have all stop sign or speed limit signs in place. And during that meeting, I did tell you that I would come back with an additional sketch of a proposed four-way stop in this area to help us maintain the traffic flow. The first option we have here is that Eric had come up with, as you see, you would have two islands lobbed out on each side and proposing a crosswalk to tie into the existing sidewalk for these new homes on South Street. We thought that would potentially be a good idea just to, as connectivity extends downtown, we already have this in place. But just for just lane widths, if anyone questions these yield lanes as proposed, they are 12 foot, and each through lane, they are 16. So they are at our standards with all the radius as proposed. The second option, if we decided not to go with crosswalks, would be this to two concrete bulb outs with the proposed signage in place. Personally, I lean more toward option one, just for future connectivity.
Well, it just saves us remember to go back later and do it.
So you only had two, is that right? These two?
Yeah, just these two. We looked at a different concept where the concrete bulb outs were not there. It would just be, we could basically stripe an area here, but you would just open up for someone to cut across the stripe, and there's more area for us to maintain.
So the situation like we have at Maple wouldn't work here? The four-way stop we have at Maple?
Yeah, where?
Maple and Poplar here.
Yes,
Maple.
this will, yeah,
We don't have a bulb out, so down there.
No, we didn't. That was DOT that actually did Poplar Street at Maple, but there was, and it was not, this is such a wide area, this intersection.
Okay.
It is so
You need to
wide.
do something else there besides just.
Will you go back to option one, please?
I like the sidewalk option.
And you can't see it in the drawing here, but the crosswalk at
You
the
can
island,
turn this way and you'll.
it is recessed with the
That's such a
88
big
domes
intersection.
for
Right.
to come through.
You know, I like the idea of the crosswalk, but every time I come through there, there's cars parked on those sidewalks in front of those houses. So I don't know how much people actually access them.
It doesn't matter, we can find them for it.
It's,
True.
they shouldn't be parking on the sidewalk. How about that?
Right. But
We can go by there and say something to them.
A public sidewalk is not a parking spot.
true, I agree. I deal
So
with
we
it
need
in my neighborhood all the time.
Number one looks like a deal because it would extend that sidewalk towards downtown. And there aren't any sidewalks now, but this would be an extension, this would help. It would be a
The
beginning.
traffic flow would go better,
Mhm.
especially since we have a lot of traffic, because then the people coming, toward 211, if they turn off, they'd get on out of the way, and the people coming across wouldn't have to wait, so yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept option one.
I second.
There's a motion to accept option one, and then there was a second discussion. Y'all having some discussion down there? Anything you want to add?
No.
Okay. Anything else? This looks good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Wood.
Mr. Mayor, as far as the timeline here, we will be waiting until the street resurfacing project through here is completed.
Can I ask you a question before you leave, Joe? So a question came up as far as like the 20-mile-an-hour changes that we now have on South Street. And then you brought up at the budget meeting that Main Street was supposed to also be 20. We were just curious, or I was, what was that based off of? It was supposed to be 20.
We look at the traffic code, we reviewed the speed we go back on Google as far as 2007, when there were postings like that.
I mean, just thinking, you know, coming off to 11, to go to 20, it's pretty drastic. You know, we were just kind of discussing that, neighbors and I, and so we didn't know if that was, you know, should it be 20, or should it be 25, 30? I mean, I was just curious.
Is that if we change the speed limit on, all the way out to 211 off of Main, or coming off of 211, would that automatically start 20 as you came off and 20 all the way downtown?
Which is in compliance with our current ordinance, right?
And there will be some changes, I think, with the traffic flow in that area as part of, with the traffic coming off of 211 when that project kicks in.
How did it, you said it goes back a ways. I'm not sure where the 20 comes from.
Everything on the code of ordinances, we went into the traffic code and there's street listings there with the posted speed. And what was posted did not match our code.
What, was it posted 35?
It was 25, it was a mixture in that area. You were at 20 and then it would jump to 25.
But Main Street, you haven't put signage on it yet, have you?
No, we are waiting on some of the orange reflective signs so we can put above and below.
Will they stay on there, or is that just temporary until people see the traffic?
We can remove them, typically we leave them in place.
I think it's good idea to keep them on.
For a while, anyway. It just
Forever.
seems like there's, forever?
Yeah.
Okay. They look kind of bright, they're coming into town, but that's what we want them to slow down, so.
I'm speculating. That 20 means they'll go, what,
30.
30?
Yeah. 25.
Well, if we can stop them from going
50.
55 coming off of 211, then we'll be good.
Yes, that would be-
If you have a fairly modern car, try to drive 20 miles an hour. It's a
Take your foot
struggle.
off the gas and just let it coast.
Yeah, that's about what it's gonna be, because 20 is slow. And I just don't have a feeling that too many people's gonna be creeping along at 20 miles an hour coming off of 211. So I assume it'll be 20, and then a wink and a nod, it's 30. I don't know. What do you say? 20's.
Can I ask a question,
Try
Ms. Chief?
riding 20 miles an hour, see how slow you are.
Well, let me just ask a question, Chief Chavis, if I may. You guys had a lot of action down there. You made a lot of stops, did you not, Chief Chavis?
I think from when I sent out the weekly report until today, they conducted maybe 15, 20 traffic stops on South Street.
And of those, do you know, like, is it in the 50, 60 range? What would be like an absolute stop?
Stopping for at least 10 over.
10 over. So now if they go 30, they could be ticketed. They,
Well, North Carolina have an absolute speed limit, so they can stop them for 2 over.
22.
But, I mean, we're trying to use discretion.
Sure, I know. We don't want you to have all your men down there all day long just stopping people for 22 miles an hour, yeah. Well, we want to follow the code, I do, but I'm like the mayor too. It's really hard to go 20. You can do it, but mostly it would be in the downtown area, like central business district.
Well,
Where-
hopefully with the stop sign, it'll control the speed a little bit.
No, we're talking about
We're talking about Main Street.
Oh, Main Street too.
Main
Well,
Street.
same way on,
But there's no stop sign on
Yeah.
Main Street, so, that's another issue. 20 from all the way out to the end of Main Street, all the way to downtown, is gonna be a challenge. Where do we have 25? Is there any place in Aberdeen that has 25? I know Devonshire Trail has 25.
The neighborhood.
My neighborhood's 25.
yeah, on 25.
I think 20 starts about Blue Street coming downtown.
It starts right there at right just before the park. Yep,
Yeah, Pine Street.
Does-
Pine Street, yeah. So we're talking about changing it from Pine Street back to 211. To
To
match the
25.
town, yeah, to match the town ordinance. It should have been all along.
And it really gets congested from blue, moving forward to 211. You've got all those at Miss Salons and the apartments. I've tried to pull it out there, and 35, it's a miracle we have not had more accidents than we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, sitting out there on election day and watching cars come down the road, I know
They were-
some of them were going 55 or 60.
Yeah, they're flying.
By the park, yeah, there's a kid's park there. Yeah.
Mayor, I mean, if you'd rather consider, Main Street to 25 instead of 20, I mean, now's the time to do it. I mean, I would just say make it 25, and then we'll make a motion to amend the speed limit ordinance, for that section to go from 20 to 25. If we need to do anything else, we'll research it, but, if we're gonna order signs and stuff, I think I understand what you're saying, it makes sense. I mean, the 20 on South, before you get to that stop sign, you need to be slowing down before you get to
Sure.
that stop sign.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's
on
true.
Main Street, 25 is,
That's gonna do what it has to do
yeah, I mean,
with the stop
there's
signs.
nothing, we can do that. I mean, I would just make that
Yeah.
part of your motion.
I-
Well, approve the four-way, and then make this separately, just say, motion to amend the.
I'm trying to figure out if we're at 20, if we're making more trouble for us than not.
Well,
Could we
if
not
you-
do 20 for the downtown business district, and then maybe to a certain point, do 25 to 211? It's already going 20, so we're not changing it. It's just going to stay. Downtown's going to be 20 no matter what. Correct?
If that's what it is. I mean,
Yeah,
that's-
it's
Yeah,
20 from
yeah, I
Pine
would-
Street through
yeah.
town, it's 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
But if you have,
DOT actually has that posted.
Yeah, that's right, because part of 5 out there, that's DOT road.
Right.
Hmm.
It's
So,
up-
so we've already made the motion and seconded and closed it for the four-way.
Yeah.
That's already been done, so
Yeah.
this
So
will be a
this-
separate.
This separate, let's,
yeah, I just want to say, if you make South Street 20 and Main Street 25, everybody's just going to come down 20, down Main Street. And they're already coming down it fast.
yeah,
So both,
it's,
to be 25, really.
all right, we have a motion and a second on this 4-way stop,
Yeah,
right?
that's already been voted
Okay.
on.
Yeah,
That's
we
closed
Yeah, we
out.
voted on that.
We're done with that one.
We're just
Yeah.
discussing like
We're
possibility of,
discussing.
because
speed
he hasn't
limits
yet
now.
changed it to 20 miles on Main, but he will eventually. But if we don't want it 20, now we need to say something while he's here. But if we want it to stay 20, all the way up to 11, or either 25 from downtown,
That-
that's
Well-
up to the board. I would
If-
say.
If we change, right now it's 35 from, I guess, from Pine Street up.
Up to
Right.
11.
To 11. So now they're going 45 on that part. So if we drop it to 25, maybe they'll go to the actual speed limit
Yeah,
that we
that's
planned
what I'm
before,
thinking.
make it 35.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
My,
That sounds.
it's 25 in your neighborhood, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
it is.
It's 25.
It's
in mine.
25 mine
It's
as well.
25.
25, fine,
And
yeah.
nobody does it, so. But it's the lesser of two evils if
Yeah.
you put it at something reasonable. I would suggest that leaving tonight or sometime tomorrow, start downtown and drive 20 miles an hour to 211.
Well, I come from work, going home every day, going up South Street, and I
Yeah.
turn left on Pine when I get to the top of the hill.
Yeah.
Even going up the hill there, it's tough to go 20 miles per hour. I've
Yeah.
tried it.
I know.
I've started to try to even set my
Cruise control don't work.
cruise control.
It doesn't
Get it
work.
up there and it doesn't.
It doesn't work under 35.
No, it doesn't.
I've tried.
Well, do we want to pass on this tonight or take a trip?
Well,
up
he's
to-
ordering signs, so I think we ought to make a decision
Just a
tonight.
Decision tonight?
I
I'd say
say,
we do it.
I say we make I make a motion that we change the speed limit from 35 to 25 from Pine Street back to Highway 211 on Main Street.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Well, are we going to change south too, or keep them together?
No, we're gonna leave south like it is.
Because it's got to stop, they'll have to stop on South Street.
All
Oh,
right.
I like to amend the
Okay.
motion too. I'd like
You
to
like
amend the
to buy new
motion
signs
to
on
add,
South
to,
Street.
to change the town ordinance as well, to match.
Second.
All right, there is a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wood. All right, D, review and discuss updates on Chapter 2 of the Town of Aberdeen Code of Ordinances.
Mayor, you've got the next packet. This is on, again, the amendments to be considered for our town code. You know, not the UDO at this point, just our town code, which as we talked about with the section 1 last week. So this section, again, this is coming right from the original company that was amending the code some years ago, Unicode. And I was talking to one of the commissioners before the meeting today, and this work was pretty abbreviated on this section, what they're calling section 2. In our code of ordinances, as we kind of see it today, it was Title 3 and parts of Title 4, and that was sections 30 up to about section 49 numerically. And so it jumps around here a good bit, and it seemed to me they skipped a lot of things that I would like to take another look at. But this is what they had. So they recommended these, like, hey, if you're gonna do as little as possible, at least do this. So it's a good start, don't get me wrong. And again, it's the same thing. If it's underlined, that's new or altered language. You can see where they struck through some things. So that's there, but I think what I might do is I might give you another version of this same section with some additional changes. I thought they'd done a little bit more intense job in that area, but not. And like I said, when they do the renumbering, that's where it gets a little confusing, to be honest with you, when you go into the code. So we're trying to kind of get all that so it's a little bit easier to follow. But that's what this is. So again, you don't have to do any changes tonight. But again, this is where, you know, if you have any comments or anything, if you can send them, email them to myself and to Regina. That way we can take notes and kind of just make sure we get them in the record. And we'll come back and take a look at this. But again, I like to kind of get it out to you on, you know, like on a monthly basis. So we are making some progress on this, but this one was a little different. And I may want to go back and look at it in more detail. Everything else will be perfect, but a few things I looked at needed a little bit of change here and there. That's it, nothing really more to that. But there are a lot of different boards and things in there that, some of which are addressed by state law, so they just took it out, and some of which had very little changes.
Any other? All right, I'll close out D if there's no discussion. And go to number 8, other business. Who has other business?
I went to visit the BHOG Moore 100 today, and they had a great turnout. It's a really nice facility over there. They're still dealing with some issues trying to get some of their distilling going on, but they're making a lot of progress. Our congressman was there, and some of the elected officials were there.
Anyone else? Spring is supposed to be in the air, but it looks like it's gonna be winter tomorrow.
And that's the first day of spring.
Yeah, all the
It's always
trees
cold
are,
on the first day of spring.
trees are blooming.
It's always cold on the first day of spring.
Yeah.
It always seems like it
Yeah.
is.
You see some pretty flowers.
Oh, you should see my cherry tree.
Yeah, they're popping up everywhere. When we were at the fire department Friday with the spaghetti dinner, those trees out front, the wind was blowing so hard it looked like it was snowing.
Where was this?
At the fire department,
Oh, really?
yeah, when we had the Friday,
Yeah, right.
and those trees out front they were all in bloom, but the wind got them. And what was funny, the doors were open at the fire department, and those petals were blowing in to the fire department. And there was a little girl, golly, what was she, about 4 or 5 years old? The petals were all in the bays where they were blowing in. I didn't have time I'm gonna take a picture of somebody's child, but somebody should have. She was laying on the floor doing
Oh, Angel.
the angel, the snow angel with the petals on the floor. Somebody should have gotten a picture of that. It was really cute. All right, anything? Anyone? All right, Ms. Wilmot.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
And I second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?